everyone, my name is Ariba Karinge. Welcome back to my channel, Let's Go Mentor. Now today I'm in a super awesome mood because as you can see I have a new hairstyle. I just got a wig from a friend of mine and I just thought I should give her a shout out. She's, we can check her out on Instagram, it's House of Queens, or on Facebook. I'll write down the details in the comment section below. And then another reason why I'm excited is because I have an awesome friend of mine here today who agreed to come and join us for this discussion today on depression and diagnoses and treatment and all that. Yeah, so anyway, it's been about 12 years and we've had our fun times, and has also really helped me out from the point when I was diagnosed and all through my treatment. He's really helped me out. So yeah, I think you can introduce yourself.
Okay, thank you for having me on your show.
Yeah.
My name is Ariba Olembo. I've known her for a long time. She's also been of great help to me because with one thing I've learned with mental illness is that you need your friends as well as your family. And I think the interactions we've had together have been helpful to both of us. Mm. And I'm happy to be on this show.
Yeah. Thanks for taking the time. Now, I mean, maybe you can start by telling people why exactly I asked you to come on board.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I have been battling mental health problems for, I would say, more than 10 years. Though when I look back, I do feel that this is something that existed prior to that. However, the symptoms were not didn't really come out until I would say 2007. And from 2007 it actually affected my ability to carry out normal tasks. And I'm happy for many reasons. One of the reasons I'm very happy is at least I got a diagnosis. Because I know one of the hardest things is that when you first afflicted when your mental illness starts getting the better of you, most of the time you do not know what is the problem is. So I think the diagnosis is a very big step forward, because once you've been diagnosed with mental illness, then now you can start taking steps to battle and defeat it. So for me, I would say the first year or so I couldn't understand what was wrong with me.
What symptoms are you experiencing?
The symptom that stands out the most is fatigue, and it's a fatigue that is very hard to explain. You cannot sleep it off, so you're fatigued 24/7. So it's a mixture of weakness, it's not really sleepiness and things like that, because you also have problems with sleep and things like that. But the fatigue is the fatigue is so debilitating to the point that there were times I would just live on my sofa set. I didn't even have the energy to go upstairs. So I saw endocrinologists, I saw so many different kinds of doctors, so many tests were run. But one time think it's my thyroid, another time think it's certain hormones, etc. So 2007 is when I first felt the really serious symptoms of the illness. Now, I must say, after seeing an endocrinologist for more than a year.
What's an endocrinologist?
A doctor that deals with the hormones.
Yeah, okay, so
I'm not. But basically checks your hormone levels, checks those kind of things. That's the kind of doctor I was seeing. So she checked my testosterone, prolactin, different hormones in my body to see if whether I was not producing them and that kind of thing. One thing I must say is that one of the symptoms, maybe I'm jumping ahead, but one of the symptoms also of depression is memory loss.
Yes, yes.
So there are a lot of things that I have forgotten. So what I'm going to talk about today is what I can remember.
Yeah.
So there might be some big important chunks that I've probably blocked out in my mind, but it's one of the symptoms that exist.
Can I just interrupt you, please? My mom does couches, and as I said,
yes, I see my seats are still there.
As I said, I've known Ariba for very many years, and at that point in time, he needed his dining set reupholstered, and we went. Ariba picked them, took them to my mom's place. And believe me, till today, those seats are still in my mom's store.
More than 10 years.
Yeah, more than 10 years. Now that's where also the memory loss comes in.
There's a lot,
Yeah.
So basically, the endocrinologist recommended me to a psychiatrist who ran a number of tests. And after running the tests, he said he was pretty sure what is afflicting me. So he told me I have a combination of what they call ADHD. I'll explain it slightly, and depression. And he said the depression was as a result of the ADHD. They were related.
Yeah. So basically, ADHD is attention deficiency hyperactivity disorder.
Yeah, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder.
Deficit.
It's a mouthful, I know.
Yeah.
But it just basically means, and for me, for a long time, I thought that this ADHD, what is this? Is some fashionable term that people are just using.
Oh, it's for kids.
Yeah. But when I look back, I do agree with the diagnosis, because as I grew up in primary school and in high school, I just found it hard to pay attention in class.
Yeah.
I found it hard to go for preps, found it hard to study. So anything that was of no interest to me, it was very difficult. And I always used to ask myself, why is it that I can't?
You can't focus.
You push yourself, but you can't. So I think that the ADHD started showing up long ago. But when you're in primary school, you can survive because the tests are in English.
Yeah.
And
but it was super genius. How did you?
But in high school now is when it started showing the effect. It started popping up more, because you can't survive that much in high school without studying.
By the way, don't tell guys what you do.
Oh, okay.
You have to go back now.
Well, I've worked in technology for a very long time. I think I started in 1998, working for a small consultancy firm. I worked for an ISP. I worked for Access Kenya for about 7 years. I also was lucky to work for Ericsson in telecommunication, and for Barclays, but Barclays more or less on the technology side. Yeah. But I've always been in technology. Technology is more of a passion to me than it's as the 2000s became, I just got interested in technology. So it started off as a hobby, but I pushed on, did some courses, did a lot of reading, and then I moved wholly into technology. But as of 2016, I stopped full employment. And part of the reason was to deal with my health. Because it was becoming difficult, because I traveled a lot. So it was a bit destabilizing. Sometimes you travel to this country, they don't have the medication that you're on. And then also being away from your family, being alone, and all that kind of thing, and you're depressed was not healthy.
Tired, all those things.
Yeah, so come 2016, I left employment. So I've been doing a few odd jobs here and there.
Including selling soda.
At some point, selling sodas. It's interesting. So I'm keeping myself busy. At the same time, I'm trying to build another career in business, because sometimes it's very difficult until you're 100% sure to be fully employed in what we call the conventional jobs, 9 to 5 jobs. But I'm happy. I think I'm also very lucky. I'm very lucky that I have very supportive family. My parents have been very supportive. My brothers,
Me.
you,
Yeah.
my children also, they don't know what. They just see sometimes that sleeps a lot.
Yeah.
Then you try and explain to them in a language that they can understand.
Yeah.
Dad is probably not feeling too well today, and things like that.
Yeah.
But all in all, I see myself as being lucky because at least I was able to get a diagnosis, which
is not
I can't take for granted.
Yeah.
A doctor has to give you the diagnosis, so you have to have the access to the medical attention or medical care to get that diagnosis. Yeah. And then something else I'll mention, which is a very, very big problem, especially with mental health, is the expense. It's extremely expensive. Yeah. The medications are extremely expensive. And then sometimes you find that the medicine that is really suited to you is not available. Yeah. So I found that when I was working in Ghana, it was easier to get medications for mental health than it is in Ghana.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's surprising. Yeah. Because in many respects, Kenya is no different from Ghana. In many respects, it's more developed. But you have shortages of medication, or the medication is not there, or the medication is too expensive. Yeah. So I can imagine what it would be like for someone working with lesser means. First of all, being able to get the medical care, to be able to get the diagnosis, and then once you get the diagnosis, to have the money to buy the medicines, to see the psychiatrist. So in many respects, I find myself being lucky, but I know there are a lot of people out there who are suffering, especially because they don't have access to healthcare. Yeah, sure. So I think it's something that needs to be really given a lot of attention, because a lot of competent, brilliant, good people are falling by the wayside just because
they can't afford the
medical care. Yeah. So I think in briefly that has been my experience. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So basically what we are saying is that, prior to, that was 2007, then now you were diagnosed now with depression, ADHD, and then you did mention the anxiety disorder.
Yeah, one thing I've learned, and I'm sure you've seen it because it's the same for you, is that a lot of the time depression and anxiety disorder go together, and that's the case for me, where you're just anxious you have no explanation as to why you're anxious. You just feel something, you can't explain it, you're on edge, your breathing is labored and things like that, you're worried about things, and yet there is nothing. But at that particular moment, you're in that zone and there's nothing that can change. One thing we take for granted is our brains, and we think that we are bigger, or your brain is bigger than you. You can't control a lot of functions that your brain control. Your heart beats because of your brain. You can't just think your heart to stop beating. So there's a lot of things that we take for granted regarding our mental abilities or control of our brain. So yes, the anxiety is a big problem. It's as bad as the depression, because when you're worried and your heart is racing and you have palpitations, you can't be productive.
You're sweaty.
And all that kind of things. So you have to take anti-anxiety medication. Problem with the most anti-anxiety medication is that the body builds tolerances. So you have to try this, try that, try this. You see. So there's the anxiety, there is the depression. And another thing I realized is a lot of these things also, you have small bits of, not everyone is the same. So you might find you have a bigger component of depression than anxiety, or have a bigger, so it afflicts people in different ways, these mental health disorders. But a lot of them go together, even with the OCD and things, because I have a bit of OCD as well. So the thing is, you just have to try your best the first thing is to believe that you're going to beat it, and because without your own self-belief and without your own determination, then no one else can help you. But it's hard. It's difficult. I will not say that it's an easy thing to do. Yeah, but without support from family, can be anyone. Family can be your best friends, the people you've grown up with, and the kind of. But without help from your social support, without a social support system, it's impossible. The medication on its own cannot cure you, so to speak. So there are a lot of factors that come into play. There's you, of course, and your determination to beat this. There's the support that you get from your friends and your family. There is access to good professional healthcare, access to medication. There's also employers being more sensitized to the condition, because at some place, I don't want to mention it, I was almost asked to leave because I had a panic attack during a meeting, which I think was a bit unfair. If I was having a heart attack during a meeting, they wouldn't have asked me to leave. But because it was something to do with my brain, then no, you can't.
You can't stay
here,
blah, blah, blah.
So there's still that stigma. There's still some discrimination against people with mental health. But we're fighting it. And one thing, once you've gone through this for a number of years, you learn to be a fighter. And you learn to try and regulate your temper and not get too angry about things and those kind of things. So I forgive you.
For my employer, you're forgiven.
But of course, this initiative is good because we need to come up with more initiatives that protect people who are suffering from mental illness, because it's difficult. You're already battling something, and you need all the support that you require. And if you don't have a job, then how do you?
Exactly.
See, so it's something that I'm very proud of you for starting.
Thank you so much
for starting, and I'm happy, and wherever I can be of support.
Happy to help.
Willing and able. I think.
So, actually, you mentioned about when you're healing or during your treatment, it's very important to have people, loved ones around you, people to support you. And there was actually a time 2 weeks ago, was it 2 or 3 weeks ago? I met with Ariba for lunch, and as I was driving to lunch, I was feeling very anxious, and I could not explain what was happening with me. So by the time Ariba came, I was really like, anxiety disorder, it's not the same as when you're preparing for a presentation. So this one, it says palpitations, you're sweating, you want to run home and lock yourself in a house, So by the time Ariba came, he reminded me how to manage the disorder. Because you see, at that point in time, you're not remembering the coping mechanism. So I remember we sat down with you and you're like, you need to do the breathing exercises. So Ariba started with me, breathe in, hold your breath, and then let it out. So I remember when we started, do you remember that?
I remember.
Oh, the memory loss. But having friends around you who are able to remind you of the triggers, how to be able to take care of yourself is also very important. Okay, so one other question I want to ask you is, you're a big, strong man, and what reactions have you gotten when you tell people that you're struggling with depression, and do you usually open up to people about it?
Yes, I do. I think one thing that is very important, especially for men, is to put your pride and your ego aside. If you're sick, you're sick. There's no shame in being unwell. And talk. And for me, when I get a chance to speak about it, just depending on the audience, but most audiences I am able to speak about it. I do talk about it because it may help somebody. So keeping it to myself, there may be someone who has come across someone who's got something similar, and it might be of help to them. So it's something that you need to talk about. And I understand what you're saying, because there's some people who have told me, no, don't talk about it. You know, why are you telling people about, it's like something shameful. It's not shameful. Everyone has, there are different illnesses, and and this is one illness that you need to speak out about, because of many things. If you're not careful, you might get to a point where you just go off the rails, and it might be too late for people to help you. So, whether you're a man, go speak to someone. Speak to someone you trust. Speak to someone who you think cares, but speak to someone, because I think we're losing a lot of men, especially because of that. I think it's something, if you do feel sick and you can't figure out what it is, and you try, just speak about it. If you're afflicted by depression, speak about it. The more people talk about it, the more we'll normalize it. The same way, there was a lot of stigma for HIV. But the more that people spoke about it, it's not completely gone, but it's not as bad as it was at that time. So I think the same thing is true for mental illness. There is no shame in having depression.
And I think one other thing I would want you to touch on is men and suicide. Like the rates, and what your advice basically would give to men. Because fine, you talked about opening up, talking about it. But what more can you tell guys? Because I know it's an issue that has been.
Okay, that's a difficult one, because there are many reasons why people want to commit suicide. There's a time, there are many times I've interacted with friends, and they've talked about someone who's committed suicide and said he was a fool, why did he do it, and blah, blah, blah. But I guess a lot of that comes out of ignorance, because we don't understand what depression is, and why would someone want to kill themselves. So the thing is, the way I try and explain it is, when you have no hope, sometimes it's very hard to explain, but there were times when I was seriously ill. At first, it wasn't that I thought of suicide. I just wondered why are people scared of dying? It's almost going towards being suicidal, but you're like, so what? There's nothing to live for, And that's the true experience. You do not derive pleasure from things that you previously did. So if you love soccer, you don't like it anymore. So there's nothing to look forward to. And you're sad, and there's nothing, and it's like you can't get out of it. And remember, this is your mind that you're dealing with. So your mind, as much as we think we have control over our minds, sometimes you need some external intervention to put us back on track. So the reason why it's good to talk about it is because a lot of men are committing suicide because they keep everything to themselves and they feel ashamed. And many times it takes someone else to talk to you, someone coming from outside to help you remove those suicidal thoughts. But if you don't get any medical attention and you have suicidal thoughts and you don't talk to people, the chances are very high. Because you've experienced the same. It's something that
you
it's a very strong.
You don't have control over it.
So I think one of the ways, there are two sides to this. There's the person with depression or with mental health conditions being able to go out and talk to people and say, I feel this way. And there's also those who are close to the people with depression. If you notice your friend, all of a sudden is quiet, is sleeping more, or is always in bed most of the time. And even some of the things that they say, I don't care, I wish I would die. Don't take those things Don't take those things for granted.
Yeah.
Don't, at least try and help. Don't brush it aside.
Yeah.
Or don't laugh it away, because it's a very serious situation. Once someone verbalizes their intent to kill themselves, and then that is also followed with certain behavioral changes, then you need to
or even drinking too much.
Or drinking too much.
Yeah, or suddenly the person is always angry at the world, so
you have to maybe find a way of talking to them, or if not, try and get professional help for them. But more often than not, it's better to get professional help, because those are people who know exactly how to approach this person.
Okay, brilliant. So I think basically we've covered almost everything. As you said, you'll be still coming to do other videos with us, to discuss other issues, especially the fact that, okay, I'm doing this initiative, Let's Go Mental, as a chick, but I think it would also be good to have a man on board just to represent both sexes, if I can put it that way, just to have the understanding from a chick side and from a guy side. And I also think Ariba is perfect for my video, because this guy is a Omuntu strong person, and people normally think that depression is for a weak person, which is not the case. Depression does not discriminate. Size, social status, anything, it just basically does not discriminate. So I think basically, Ariba, thank you again.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so
look forward to being on the show again.
Yeah, you're welcome anytime. And guys, I hope this has given you more insight into depression, and we will see you during my next video. Take care. Goodbye.